Hey guys, this is Black117 here, and today I'll be going over PFA Finals as we are up against Wenwuk for finals of this season. So I think this is season 9. So we're going up against the Ottawa Pangos or Baronos. I think it's Pangos now. I think Wen always changes his team here and there. I think he was the Ottawa Dracos one season, then he was the Pangos, and after, no, he was Pangos now. And Baronos. I don't even know. But he loves changing his team here and there. Team name. So anyways, looking at his matchup, um and since this is finals by the way, this is gonna be an interesting one if you ask me, because just based off matchup alone, um it's just like a very interesting one. Like start off, there's like a lot of Pokemon that can pretty much like just looking at his team. Like there are a lot of strong wall breakers, pivots, like Tornadus, Klefki are obviously a pivot. Well, Klefki is more of a hazard setter. Thorn is probably the pivot for him. That's been very strong. And then you have like strong wall breakers, like Kartana and Chandelure. They kind of break for each other if you think about it. So yeah, you have very strong like hazard removal and hazard setters and like Klefki, Prankster, Neolega with the toxic spikes, stealth rocks, and Mandibuzz can be another pivot and whatnot. And you have cleaners like Lucario, Virizion, again Kartana. So and also so many ways to like do with like speed control in general. Like he has a ton of fast Pokemon, ton of priority Thunder Wave, E-Speed, Sticky Webs, and even potential Scarfers. And so, anyways, I'm pretty much here to discuss my team, and I'm gonna try to briefly go over it. So, mostly because I'm just gonna, as per usual, past two videos, we're going to be like, um, putting the team builder and the like the and the finals or the battle together. So in this case, the finals. So there's an annotation if you want. Guys can like want to skip through the finals if you want. But I'm here just explaining the team. So alrighty. So right off the bat, this is a very weird matchup for me because, to be honest, this is the one matchup I really am not so sure about. Not so much for like the what mons he's gonna bring, but just how am I gonna deal with it in general. Like as you could notice and you see, there is a ton of um there is a ton of like Pokemon that could just deal with like my mons in general. Like obviously I just mentioned like he has so many speed control options. Like between Thunderwave Klefki, Speedy Tornadus, Garfnia Lego and Kartana, Lucario with E-Speed, etc., etc. I do think that like his team is gonna stack with each other. Like if he brings Araquanid, he's not bringing Blastoise. If he brings Mandibuzz, he's not bringing Torn, and vice versa. So that's how I feel like this matchup's gonna be. And in terms of what I think he's bringing, I think he strongly has to bring the Klefki, because I think having spikes is just gonna be a very like good for him. Neil Ego is also another one because he spikes just look very strong versus me as well. And then Torn is he didn't bring it, but I think he's gonna bring it this time because it's speed and the ability to pivot into anything on my squad. Araquanid I think will even though I think the last time we brought it he was like a trapping spiderweb set, but it had no liquidation and sticky webs. Now I think he's gonna bring the sticky webs in my opinion. So and then you have the other ones like Blastoise, Chandelure, Kartana. Well, I think he brings Kartana. Well, okay, let's go over. I think he brings Klefki, Nilego, what, Kartana, Torn, and then maybe either like Araquanid and Lucario or whatever you say. So it does mean that like if the thing is with a team without Stunfisk, which is weird in of itself, means that it is weak to Coco in general, since he is very weak to Coco. So yeah, that's what we're going to start off with this build. So for this finals, I pretty much largely built this team around Scarf Coco to win, and this is a very like already you could already tell that this is semi weird. Like you're running a Coco with like physical attacking moves, and that's right, I am like wild charge and U-turn. The reason why I'm running this is because this allows me to like Thunderbolt already like two shots his entire team as is, except for the Stunfisk. And I want a U-turn to pivot out against that thing if I'm ever trapped into it, quote unquote. A Wild Charge is just there to help me hit Nilego and help me hit the Araquanid. Because Araquanid can't survive a Thunderbolt, but can't survive like Wild Charge, especially with like not that much investment, and if he gets chipped with rocks. So that's the idea of having Scarf Coco. Um, and with the Scarf, I am able to outspeed like his basically his entire team, unless he brings like a Scarf Tornadus, or if like he has sticky webs up and I can't outspeed his Scarf first. Below that, it's like Torn and whatnot. Though I think he's gonna make Torn like more so out like speed creep my Mega Gallade. So that's why I just decided to go full max speed, so that way I could take advantage of that. If in case like it comes down to like sticky webs being set up and whatnot. So yeah. Um Defog is just there just as a way to remove hazards in general. So overall I think this is gonna be like my cleaning set. And it's kind of an also last ditch defog set, so since I do think that with the defog I have to remove hazards if they start becoming a problem. But even then I don't know what else would be a good defogger, so as I'll go explain in a bit. So the next Pokemon I have is the Nidoqueen, and this Nidoqueen came out of necessity in the sense that I realized that Nidoqueen actually was 100% mandatory, because if we brought Nidolego with T-Spikes and I didn't bring Nidoqueen, this game becomes 10 times harder because of the fact that I have to deal with with Toxic Spikes, and he just gets free chip from there. And with a team filled with wall breakers and cleaners and breakers and whatnot, I can't kind of I can't let that happen, especially with some Pokemon relying on not getting toxic in the first place. So yeah. So in the end, I brought it Nidoqueen, and the set is pretty simple: Earth Power, Flamethrower, boosted Sheer Force, and Earth Power just pretty much two shots everything or Oko stuff after rocks. Flamethrower actually knocks out Kartana. I was thinking about running Super Fang, but I felt that Magnet Rise Klefki was gonna be a problem if you brought it. So I didn't want to be stuck in that situation, so I felt Flamethrower was just better. Also versus the Virizion and was it the Kartana, so also being able to chip down Torn is always nice whenever I need to. So Toxic is just there to well, poison something like Torn, Blastoise, Mandibuzz, Araquanid. I couldn't think about bringing Toxic Spikes because 6 of his 11 Pokemon, literally more than just half, like a team, like a viable, like you could literally build a viable team that could like doesn't even like be affected by toxic spikes. Of course, I just went for toxic just to get more chip damage on Blastoise, on Stunfisk. It just was a safer option and route. And the last but not least, and this is probably where I have to explain my set, is Protect. Now, normally you've seen me run like if you've known me, you've seen me run like Protect, or not Protect, but a Guava Berry or 50% berries on Nidoqueen or any of my mons. Trust me, you'll see one soon. This set pretty much takes advantage of like gradual recovery from leftovers, but in this case Black Sludge, in case he tries to trick me. So I'm like, whatever. Here's some chip damage for you. So the idea is to is to like use protect on Pokemon that are like likely Scarfers, like let's say a Kartana or Chandelure. And if those Pokemon are Scarfed, and even the Lego, and if those Pokemon are Scarfed, I could lock in their, I could scout for their attacks while I, go for Black Cloak recovery. The same thing is, the thing about the set is that it really synergizes well with Toxic. Yeah, I know, but like the thing is, it helps me get gradual recovery, and with the help of Sylveon, I think I should be able to help out Nidoqueen a little bit more here. So, um, I hope that like Nidoqueen is able to check the mons like Nihilego, Lucario, Chandelure, even like Kartana if it can. So that's pretty much the idea of breaking Nidoqueen here. So next up we have is the Suicune. Now Suicune, I kinda just brought the same set. Only difference is I brought a little bit more for depth than defense because Gwen's team is pretty especially offensive outside of like key mons like the Lucario, Raquanid, Virizion, Kartana, those like four Pokemon, and I'm just like thinking to myself, I might as well just bring Suicune here because I don't have a switch into Araquanid, and Suicune can pretty much set up on Araquanid because thanks with substitute pressure, I can pretty much ensure that like Araquanid can like needs to take 2 turns to like break the sub, and that's huge because that can like lead to me like PP stalling the Araquanid out as I set up. We go for Calm Minds and have Hidden Power Flying on deck to knock it to two-shot it. So I do have that option over HP or not HP Flying over Air Slash because I think Air Slash I'm forced to run like Relaxed Nature, and Relaxed Nature makes me slower, so he has a better chance to outspeed me if he just goes for max speed. So yeah, I didn't really want Suicune to like be stuck in that situation against Virizion, where it just goes for Swords Dance and whatnot. So I just wanted to have Hidden Power Flying just to ensure that that goes for it. And for anything else, I could always just Skull Burn if that's the case. So, the idea is of course just to rely on sub Calm Mind, just to attempt to slowly break apart his team. Of course, I do have to worry about random toxic mons like Klefki, Torn, Mandibuzz, even Araquanid and Blastoise. Those are like probably the prime suspect to have toxic. Also, Kartana is annoying, as well as Mandibuzz if it's like a really fast Haunter set. But even then, if I just go for Skull, then I can just fish for burns, and that's scenario. So, but overall, Suicune just looks very strong here as a defensive utility. So next up we have Sylveon, and Sylveon, I don't really want to explain it as much, but I did focus more on special defense because his team is more like has a lot more special offense, like Chandelure, Torn, Nihilego, and I felt that Lucario was already going to be like a pain to deal with, so I might as well just opt out of like some defenses here and there, so deal with those special threats. So other than that, it's pretty much the same set. Hyper Blow, Switch, Protect, Heal Bell. I couldn't really think of another option really, outside of maybe running the Berry on for Lucario, but even then it was kind of too risky because Sylveon's gonna be my likely switch to Torn, and Torn's likely gonna have knockoff, and that's not a good combination to deal with. So yeah, that's never something you want to deal with. So I just felt that leftovers recovery would be nice. So with over time, I think I could like get as much like a little bit of recovery here and there. So yeah, next Pokemon is our pretty much what I think will probably be our win con, or one of our win cons outside of maybe Coco, Suicune. That is this bulky Chomp. Now this is pretty much a very defensive Chomp set, as you see. But if you think about it, this thing can pretty much go 1v1 versus everything on his squad. It can deal with the Lego, it can deal with Klefki. Well, Mandibuzz, if I could Toxic it or burn it, yeah, I could deal with that. Lucario, I can deal with like Adamant Lucario. Jolly, I'm not so sure if he's bringing Jolly. I think he needs Adamant for the power. Araquanid, I could deal with Araquanid or Rock Slide. Chandelure, outspeed it, unless it's Scarfed. Like Virizion, still doesn't want to switch in to an Earthquake that many often because of its low defense. Blastoise is, again, taking chip from Earthquake. Kartana, I have Flamethrower. And Stunfisk, I have Earthquake. So, as you can see, this is pretty much my rocker. And probably my lead for this game because I really didn't want to have Nidoqueen on rock duty this time around. And I wanted Nidoqueen to at least be able to check some Pokemon in general. So, and I know that Chomp, I needed something to like be able to at least be fast enough to outspeed and get up rocks ASAP. So, and I do have a Gualberry in case, like let's say something like the Nihilego, Thorn, or Chandelure, or Scarf Chandelure go for Hidden Power Ice. I could like take the hit and then just recover back with the Gualberry. So that's pretty much the idea of this set. I like Rock Slide here in general because it's a good coverage option for most of his squad. And the only thing I don't like, I guess the only thing I don't like is that Mandibuzz does wall this, as well as like Klefki to a degree if it has Magnet Rise or whatever. But still, this is a good Chomp set that's bulky enough to take hits, and I just hope that this can do work. So, the last Pokemon is Scizor. So, well, Scizor, I was thinking about a lot of ideas with Scizor. Like for instance, I was thinking whether to bring like Bullet Punch, Defog, Swords Dance, Roost, or more of a defensive set. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that like Scizor is probably gonna be my win con, one of my win cons to deal with like stuff like Kartana. Like I needed a defensive Pokemon to take on Kartana pretty well, and the only one that could do it is Scizor because of its natural bulk. Now, of course, it does have Smart Strike, so I have to be worried about that if that sets up like an SD. But with Rocky Helmet chip damage into Bullet Punch, I should be able to wear down the Kartana to where, let's say, like a Coco or even like over time it will get chipped down with U-turn as well. So, I did pick U-turn over like there was a lot of moves that I actually decided to go with. I wanted to try out and go with, like between Defog, Brick Break, Wing Attack, and even like I think Knockoff. But the thing is, Knockoff was kind of bad because of the whole Lucario Justify situation. Wing Attack just doesn't. It's good coverage with Steel and Flying, surprisingly, especially for Araquanid. But not only do I get walled by Stunfisk, but it's not really good when I can't really hit, like, let's say, I forgot what it is. Something like Blastoise for a good chip. And then Brick Break, if I bring Brick Break, then like Chandelure and the Araquanid walls me. And, like, Brick Break was something that I kind of wanted to bring, but I just didn't because there was like a good amount of Pokemon that could take on a Scizor just as easily. So, and in the end, I felt that like a U-turn was just the better option. Being able to pivot into his Pokemon for good positioning is never a bad idea. So yeah. Anyways, I think that's the team. Pretty much the idea is just to chip his team down, get in ensure that like pretty much his team doesn't get like all doesn't get too out of hand, too crazy, and just try to win and get another title. So, anyways, well, I'm gonna like probably split this video up since it's already a little bit too long. So, so if I did say that, that there was gonna be battle, there's gonna be a battle after this video, I apologize. There'll probably be one in the next video. So, anyways, this is the team builder. So, next video I'll be talking about the actual battle. So, I'll see you guys soon.